This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports. We're 2 weeks out from, I guess, the biggest fight of your career, Dominic. Obviously, it's great to have you back on. We look as if we're in a sort of mystery location today because we sort of have the background blared out. But I guess for you now, obviously, 2 weeks out from, I probably would have said to Ben last night as well, probably the biggest fight of your career to date, but one that you're relishing, you can't wait to go.
Yeah, definitely the biggest fight of mine and Ben's career. Really looking forward to it. Um, this time 6 months ago, a lot of people are probably wondering, sure, he can give up. There's nothing in the sport for him. Now I'm fighting for a Celtic title, and I get a ranking in a European ranking. It's massive. So yeah, biggest fight of my career.
I was sort of saying to Ben last night as well that I'm taking a lot of praise for this because obviously, I know the initial plan was the Fergus Quinn was obviously for getting the BUA Celtic title, and you and Ben would have fought for it. And I think I sort of put out there that obviously about the British Boxing Board Celtic title. So I was sort of saying to Ben last night that he needs to mention to Sam and you need to mention to Ian that need to give me about 10 grand for that recommendation. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess you don't probably need any more motivation. I guess sometimes, and having the biggest fight of your career to date, you've sort of it's well documented. Obviously, you've been since sort of COVID sort of happened. You've had obviously that bad luck. Things just weren't going right. Confidence was sort of dropping, and obviously even now we've got you. I probably wouldn't say you're back to your best form yet, but obviously you know, you starting to build up to that. You obviously you've had a couple of fights in, and I guess hopefully you don't mind me saying, obviously the passing of obviously Harrison has probably put that firework probably back up inside you and brought that fire back out. You probably need it a wee bit. Would that be fair in saying?
Oh no, definitely. He is my motivation, and now so he is, and probably is one of the reasons why I'm still at the sport. So it is like I'm doing something which he would have loved to been doing. Like there in November, he was meant to be making his debut, and a lot of people thought I was going to pull from that fight, but I wasn't going to pull from that fight when I know one of my best friends could have been fighting alongside me in that. So I'm very grateful. I'm fit to stand and fight where he's not able to do that, but I'm going to keep um, doing it while I can.
Definitely the memory, obviously, and I say it's as I sort of said to you, I think obviously after you get back to one in ways in Goodwood, that sort of that motivation, that sort of drive will sort of come with that. And sometimes you can learn more about yourself, in other scenarios. Obviously, the Ben McGivern fight was one that obviously you wanted. Obviously, after your last win in Scotland, you sort of made it like a sort of call out, but I think the fight was sort of agreed, you know, in the venue sort of afterwards. What is it obviously about the Ben McGivern fight? Was it just the fact that probably Ben's similar to yourself and the fact that he doesn't say one thing online and something else, as to why he did not take the fight? Was Ben McGivern a great option at the fact that that he would say yes and he'd be happy to dance?
They actually wanted to fight first, so they did. Um, it was mentioned. Sam, I think, was talking to Ian, and it was mentioned to Ian, and Ian threw it at me. And this was before the CJ Wood fight. He was on about the Ben McGivern fight, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'll take that." Like I don't really shy away from fights, as you know, Stephen. So I didn't really know anything about Ben, and then when I looked at his fight, so I knew a bit more about him, and I'm not taking it because I think he's an easy option. I think that he's going to become game. He's puts 100% effort into every fight, and it's genuinely a 50-50 fight because he's been down in the dumps and I've been down there. So now both of us has the opportunity um to dance now in the 10th of March and see who comes out the best. And
I guess obviously it's the first 10 rounder, obviously for you, you know, as a professional, obviously I know Ben's done 10 rounds before in the Bebas circuit. You obviously get into enemy territory as well. Would you probably have wanted it in a better scenario? The fact that you sort of have to go to Scotland, you know, it's Scotland versus Ireland. You're having to go to Scotland and rip the belt away. You know, I know it's a vacant belt and everything else, but you obviously understand the fact that sometimes, you know, because of you being the away fighter, you might need to do more rounds. This is a perfect scenario for you to go to Scotland, to get the belt, and they bring it home. You know, it's like a sort of Braveheart scenario sort of thing, you know, that you're going in there, you're going to they put on a clinic and bring that belt home to Cavan.
Yeah, no, definitely. But in fairness, Ben was going to come over here, so we were meant to fight on the Conlon card, and then that didn't go ahead. So then Sam got on to Ian saying he'd get us on the Braveheart show, and I wasn't going to say no because Ben didn't say no by coming over here. So I thought it was only fair for me to give him the same credit as he was giving me. Like he was going to come over here to fight me, so I'm gonna do the same. Go over there to fight him. It doesn't really matter where it is. At the end of the day, the belt's vacant. The best man is gonna have to win convincingly to get that belt. So nah, it doesn't bother me at all going over there.
It, obviously, I've sort of touched on this before, but you know, confidence obviously is coming back. Obviously, the link up with Dan, um, obviously talked to me about that. Obviously, the fact that you know I've known Dan obviously quite a while, and sometimes he's happy to go under the radar and things of what he's done. But what's Dan done for you? Obviously, since the link up with himself, that has obviously changed your mindset and everything else. Is it just the fact that he's getting you back to the sort of basics of the fact that you know being able to obviously set up obviously your tax and things like that. What's changed obviously with the link up with Dan?
Dan believes in me, so he does. Um, we're always on the phone to each other, and we're good stable there. With I don't mind driving up and down to Belfast. Everyone's like, "God, you're go up to Belfast to train," but I enjoy going up because it's good crack, and even if you have a bad spar, if you have a bad session, you're guaranteed to either have him on the phone or James on the phone to you. And same as uh, if James is a bad spar, I'd be on to him. Like it's a good happy place. But to be honest, to get me my motivation back, it was Harrison, and I think I had a fight with Dan, and it was against Owen, and Harrison was actually at that one, so he was, and um, that was a hard one for me to swallow, losing against Owen Duffy. Like I was up, I'm nearly sure I was up most of the rounds, and then getting caught with that body shot, being so close away from winning because that was only a 6 round fight. I was about 3 minutes away from getting my hand raised, but it's really the motivation got me to passing off Harrison because I can't feel sorry for myself being like, oh, if I had done this, had done that, I'm fit to do that. I'm fit to do this, where he's not fit to do that. So that's where I'm kind of getting my confidence back. And obviously, Dan is a phenomenal coach. He puts his all into every boxer he has, and the stable's growing up there now as well. So, um, yeah, so my confidence came back from Harris. I know that could be a kind of way people like, God, that's a bad way to get your confidence back. But I'm able to do something that he wishes he could do. So that's where I'm at, Stephen.
Obviously, it's been seen obviously on Instagram and everything else that obviously you've had Lewis Crocker in camp for quite a lot of this. Obviously, having someone like Lewis there, and you know as well as I do, as you being a boxing fan as well, that Lewis is obviously tipped for major things in the sport. Having someone like Lewis Crocker in the camp and obviously sparring and everything else, what's that obviously done to help you prepare? Because I guess sometimes they look at the, you know, a success by association. Obviously, having someone like Lewis's talent in there obviously a new pro about to come onto them in the scene as well, and James Freeman. What's sort of, I'm sure that, as you sort of said, the gym's buzzing, but having someone like Lewis there to learn off, can only be a great thing for you getting into this fight.
No, definitely. You learn so much of Lewis, his movement, the way he comes into the gym. Just everything about him is professional, and he'd sit down with you and tell you if he'd tell you that you're doing something wrong. So he would, and he'd also give you great praise as well, which I like. Where other boxers don't like to hear what they're not so good at, or maybe they're doing this wrong. Or I love when someone tells me that, right, you're dropping this, or this could be a better. Like, to get advice from someone like Lewis Crocker is unreal, and it's great being able to get that in the gym. And even walking in the gym, the atmosphere around the gym is great at the minute, because even when you walk in the morning, you might see Aidan Walsh there with Dan and his coach, and then we'd potter in, myself and James, and then Lewis come in, and we Rory as well. Like, the gym at the minute is buzzing, and I think Taylor McGoldrick is coming to be part of the team as well. So you're around phenomenal athletes there, phenomenal boxers, and it's only going to take the best out of you. So it is, and being around that is only going to benefit me.
I guess the only bad side sort of in the gym is obviously Dan's style of music. Dan's music choices aren't the greatest, so obviously as someone fighting to take control of the remote from him. Obviously talk to me obviously about, the fight in 2 weeks' time. Obviously, I know Ben last night says he sees it as a 50-50 fight. For you, do you obviously see yourself, what way do you see yourself going into the fight? I guess you sometimes have to sort of favor yourself with the fact that where you start the vision, the fight and everything else. How do you see the fight sort of going? Do you see it as a 50-50 fight? Do you put yourself in that favorite or underdog sort of mentality?
Yeah, no, it's definitely is a 50-50 fight. Like, even if you go back and watch Ben's fights, he doesn't fight every fight the same. So it all depends what kind of Ben McGivern comes out. And same way as him, if he goes back and looks at my fights, none of my fights are the same either. Like, he said, I controlled my jab good against CJ Wood, and then he could look at the Graham fight, then he could look at the Owen fight. So it's hard to say. It's definitely, I am confident. I'm confident. I wouldn't be taking the fight if I wasn't confident. But yes, it is definitely a 50-50 fight.
And I guess obviously Ben, as Ben sort of said as well, that this could potentially be his last fight, so he's treating this as like a world title fight to him. For you, obviously, you've that memory of obviously Harrison there as well. So if things get tough or anything else like that, you have that motivation to play off. Obviously, European ranking, on the line as well. Like, I know when the chips were sort of down and you weren't getting the results, do you now think that, a year later on from, the Martin Lobb show last year, the fact that you could be, catapult yourself in the European rankings, and so you're sort of going, what's going on? Who's playing a joke here?
Yeah, no, I always had that vision, like, and it just take me a bit longer than was expected. Like, them 4 defeats on my record, that wasn't in my plan at the start when I went out, but they're bumps now. So I'm absolutely grateful to be in this position now to get this opportunity, because if most people get 4 defeats, they're like to throw in the towel and be like, God, I'm done with this. But I know what I can give to the sport. I know where I can get to, and to feel that this is a very lucky opportunity. No, I think I deserve this opportunity. So do, and I'm going to take it with both hands. And you're going to see the 10th of March why I was given this position. And yeah, no, it is great.
Does a win on the 10th of March, fully restore the confidence obviously back? And, because anything in boxing, obviously, when you get your first defeat and everything else like that, the sort of confidence can drain. Not everybody believes they're Floyd Mayweather and can go 50-0, but for you to obviously lift that belt, and the new Dominic Donegan on the 10th of March, will that completely restore the confidence back to the levels you were pre-COVID? At the fact that you're now achieving something, you've obviously got your first professional belt. What will that do for the confidence levels of you moving forward?
I definitely it'll go through the roof, Stephen, and just then sit down with the team and see what's next. Because it's only that when you lift the belt, it's over very quick once you lift it. Like the hype's all down after a day or two, everything settles down, and then you just have to go back to the drawing board then again and sit down and plan what's next, because the hype's only for about 2 days after it when you win, and then everyone nearly forgets about you then, until they're looking maybe to fight you. So yeah, no, it'll definitely do the confidence good. The confidence are good at the minute, so yeah.
Well, as we've seen, obviously with Owen O'Neill, obviously recently as well. I know that obviously you were potentially looking at opponents for a long, long while, but obviously Owen having the BUA Celtic title, you're seeing obviously that he's getting the call outs and stuff like that as well. Is it going to be good for you at the fact that people's now going to be you you become the hottest sort of property, sort of domestically, sort of, because you'll have the most to lose from a fight, with it being ranked in Europe and everything else, where you then have a target in your back? Is that something that you're relishing in, the fact that people are calling your name out, people are giving you offers, because this is what the boxing game is all about, trying to make as most of what we can, where you have a target in your back and people's calling you out. Is this the moment you're looking for?
Yeah, no, I'll enjoy that, and no doubt that I am going to get call outs, and if they make sense, if they're like I made many to call out, so I have, and I didn't call them out just because I thought I'd walk all over them. I'd call them out just because I know it's going to be a very good 50-50 fight. So I'm looking forward to hearing who shouts my name and that. But no one's going to be shouting my name unless I take home that belt. So after 10th of March, I'll get excited about that.
Definitely. Well, Dominic, obviously, we'll thank you once again for your time, as we always do. Obviously, enjoy the last week or so of camp. Obviously, 2 weeks today. You obviously fight Ben McGivern for the British Boxing Board Celtic middleweight title. Obviously, may the best man win. Obviously, I know that you will be similar to Ben in the fact that you both want to leave the ring as he's under it and everything else. But enjoy the last of your camp, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you very, very soon.
Will do, Stephen, and thank you very much. Doing a great job as always.
Cheers, Don. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.